Hey, what's up? It's John Kizzy. You know who Wizzy, aka Philly G, because they know who I be, and I'm here with Ray Ray.
What it do, people?
And hey, we started a podcast. Today we're here with an extra special guest. Um, we'll get him to introduce himself. Jesse.
Gentlemen, how's it going? My name is Jesse Flores. I am head of artists and label partnerships at Intercept Music. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Yeah, and just kind of reading through kind of your bio and looking over the website and stuff. You guys are doing some really cool stuff, and you have a really cool track record of kind of being able to produce constantly and help other artists kind of get to a bigger platform. So I'm thinking of like, how did you get involved within this industry of music, and like what is your story coming up through this industry?
That's a great question. I got started at an early age. It really started in college. I kind of wanted to figure out what I wanted to do with my career and my life in general. I always loved music, as many of us, and I was actually playing music. I was playing saxophone, alto and baritone sax, but I didn't want to necessarily major in it going into college. So I did that for about a semester, and I switched everything up and really focused on business management, business administration, and I switched over to the business school, not really knowing where that was going to lead me. And I ended up finding out that on campus at my college, there was a student-run organization that put on shows, music shows throughout the year, and it was student-run, fully funded by the school. And I joined that, and I really got my foot in the door as finding out, like, this is what the business part of the music business kind of is. It's being a booking agent for a school and basically just bringing talent to the school to perform.
Okay,
And
so
then
you kind of
as
came
part
in
of that,
at like a very young age, right? Kind of like, how was that
yeah,
process of doing the booking in college? Like, what were some of the kind of acts that you were bringing in?
yeah,
What was the reception that people were kind of having for that? Like,
yeah. No, this was definitely young, around 18 years old. When we brought in some major acts at the time, and I'm going to be dating myself, but the acts that I was involved with were Tribe Called Quest, The Far Side, Lost Boys, Redman, just great artists that I looked up to, that I listened to growing up, and just being involved with the process. Not necessarily with the booking, to be honest, but more so the day to day. When they came in town, we're taking them around to hit a promo runs, take them to the radio station, to the retail store, drop them off at the hotel, picking them up to go to the show and do sound check, that kind of stuff. Just the day to day stuff like that. That's kind of where I learned, that side of the business, and because of that, we got a magazine called CMJ every month, I believe. In the classified section, there was a distributor called Polygram Music Distribution that was looking for a college up in North Central Florida, and I applied and I interviewed a couple times and I actually got that job, and I think it was because of my involvement with the organization, booking acts.
nice, nice, nice. Like, and like, what is that like for you as a fan of the music, being able to kind of hang out and be with some of those artists and get to kind of show them the city that you're from or the place that you're kind of repping at the time?
Yeah, it took things to a different level, and it definitely gave me a different perspective. Where everybody that I was hanging out with, all my friends were all fans. Now I'm on the other side where part of the industry per se. And when I got the college job, even though it was part time, I was really official because we were getting advanced music, we were getting promotional materials, we had street dates, we had upcoming priorities, we had to do monthly wrap ups. So doing all that stuff gave me a job, and really showed me that this is something I can do for my career going forward.
And how did that career kind of continue on for you throughout the years?
So when I got the college gig, I was a senior. I was ready to graduate. And my boss at the time, he was very gracious. He let me stay on for an extra semester after I graduated as a college rep. And after those few months, I got a job offer as a field marketing rep for Polygram in Detroit and LA. And I chose to go to LA, and that's where I kind of started climbing the ladder, as far as different positions, different jobs in Los Angeles, where it was obviously a big city, one of the main hubs for the music industry, which was either New York or LA at the time. And just being a fresh young kid, fresh out of college, my eyes were wide open. I was just a sponge. I was just learning, meeting people, networking, just really trying to see where I can fit in within this business.
Yeah, and what were some of those biggest lessons that kind of you soaked up being that sponge in those environments?
A lot, man. Just observing, seeing, following, people that were in the position prior to me. Really, some good friends out here in the business that took me under their wing per se and took me around. It was a very retail heavy job when I first started. So we were going out to record stores. That's when there were a lot of mom and pops, but there were also Tower Records and Virgin Records and big chain stores as well. And just, learning how the business really works behind the scenes. We're the people setting up the in stores, setting up the concert dates and making sure everything looks good for when the artist gets to the venue. Doing retail in stores, having the artist sign and just taking them around. So doing that as well as in a big city, which is a huge plus because at the time in LA, there were always events going around, not just the company I work for, but our competitors. So it was a great time to be in the business. A lot of conferences as well, which was crucial to my development, was going to these conferences every year and, seeing what every company was putting out in the next 12 months and just seeing all the people, my peers, within the business as well, meeting with them, getting to know them, and building relationships that last till this day.
Yeah, yeah, no, and that's a humongous part of being involved in that industry, right? Or in this industry itself is kind of that networking element. So, like, what were some of those kind of networking situations for you that maybe helped take you to a different level?
Definitely the conferences, like I said, there was, Urban Network was a big conference at the time, and that's when all the major labels would bring their artists and do showcases and performances. You had street teams all around hanging out, handing out free stuff, free promos, free music, free swag. So it was just if I had to pick one specific event, I would definitely say Urban Network, just because I was really focused on R&B and hip hop at the time for the projects I was working, and I obviously grew up listening to those genres of music. And like I said, I met people that to this day I'm still friends with. Some are still in the business, some aren't. But regardless, you build those bonds and you build that trust factor, that integrity factor. That's very crucial in the industry because you always want to be dealing with somebody that you can trust, that you believe, and has that honesty and integrity that will definitely take you very far.
Yeah, no, for sure. And looking at like the wealth of experience that you have in the industry, like right now in your current position, you guys are doing some really cool stuff, and I want you to talk about a little bit about like what that company structure is and how you guys plan to help artists being able to kind of have their music furthered, right? Because from what I'm hearing, you're talking, your career has been spent doing a lot of the behind the scenes work that a lot of artists don't really even know or necessarily that has to happen to help kind of get them to another level. So how do you kind of take that experience and coordinate that into your new position that you're in?
Yeah, and with the new position, I'm over at Intercept Music now, heading up artist and label partnerships. And the reality is, it's a great time to be independent. What we do is really focus on the independent community. We're a global distributor for the independent artists and also independent label community. And we basically are a perfect blend of music technology, music distribution, and providing exceptional customer service. And when I say that, I say that to mean that a lot of times if you're an artist out there and you're just at a distributor, some issues will happen. Things arise, and you need to contact somebody to help fix the situation. Get you in a better position to succeed. And sometimes you don't get a call back or you don't get an email response in a timely manner. That's not the case at a company like Intercept. We're really focused on being your strategic growth partner, helping you grow your business. We're there to help with release strategy, with making sure that everything's set up and looking good in our system. So when it's delivered to all the music platforms, you're not having any problems on release date. Ideally, we have enough lead time where we have your music ahead of time where we can pitch it and get placements, whether it's playlisting or a special feature at a certain account. So all those things are in play, and we take very seriously and are a big part of our service offering over at Intercept Music.
That's good to hear. We have a lot of like, I don't know if you know the hip hop scene here in Halifax. Well, not even just the hip hop scene, the music scene. It's crazy. And on our episodes, we often have a lot of up and coming artists and stuff that just with the little bit of information I've been going over from what you guys do, I think that a lot of them would present like a great opportunity for them. What could you tell them maybe in like a layman's terms as somebody that like is just making their music and putting it out there?
Mhm.
How would you explain to them what you would do for them?
Yeah, well, the first thing we would do is definitely have a conversation, kind of get a good sense of what they want to do with their career, You know, is this something you want to do to generate money or earn a living? And if that's the case, then you have to look at it like a business. You know, you got to have a plan, you got to have a strategy. You know, every good business has that, and you know, music businesses is the same way. I mean, when it comes to putting out music, we want to know, you know, what's your 12-month plan? What do you have coming out over the next year? You know, what exactly is it? Is it singles? Is it EPs? Is it albums? You know, is there advanced music that we can listen to? Do you have a team around you that's going to help get you to where you want to be and are there to support you? And ideally, every artist, when they get to a certain point where they're getting traction and they're building that commercial fan base at the Spotify's, at the YouTubes of the world, they need to have a good team, and it needs to be a good manager, a good distributor, a good entertainment attorney, a good publicist, as well as a good online marketing and social media strategist. So those five people, there to help you build your career, and you know, people that you trust, that have the same interest as you and want to make sure you succeed. They're all vital, you know, and they're going to be there to help you succeed. You got to be consistent with your release schedule as far as putting out music. You don't want to be an artist that puts out something for a year or two and then goes away for about 4 years and then tries to start up again. You're not going to have the same fans there. They've moved, more than likely they've moved on. So being consistent with releases, being consistent with your social media strategy, all those things are in play, and all things that we focus on at Intercept when it comes to looking at new clients and then having them on board as a new artist partner or label partner.
No, that's amazing that you guys will kind of look at the whole of an artist and look at the packaging of everything around it. Like you said, those consistent release dates. How do we make sure that we're focused on those? And I do find that's a lot of things that artists have pitfalls in. So and that's my question for you is, like, over your time within the music industry, what do you find are the main pitfalls of somebody who's an independent artist trying to kind of release their music on their own? What are the things that you consistently see people not focusing on?
I definitely think one of the things that they don't really focus on is finding the right partners, which I've just discussed, and the right team. Also, listening to them, you know, because a lot of times we have conversations with indie artists, and you know, they want to put their music out immediately. And the reality is, if you do that, you're missing opportunities. You're leaving money on the table potentially, because the reality is, the Spotify's, the Apple Musics of the world, they have their pitch meetings 3 weeks before release date. So why would you want to put something out, you know, within a week when you're not going to have any support? They're not going to know about it. They're not going to, you know, be there to support you in the way you want. So little things like that. Also, when it comes to making music, I definitely suggest that any artist out there should really strive to make music that's timeless and that's undeniable. You know, that's always a recipe for success. And also be patient and be resilient. The reality is, the music industry is very competitive, and it's not going to happen overnight for a lot of people, but you got to stay consistent, have that plan, have the team around you, and be with that right distribution partner that's going to help you take it to the next level.
And like, what would be like the cost breakdown associated with you guys kind of doing this service for an individual artist or a band?
Yeah, so like many distributors, we just have a distribution fee, you know, that we charge. We also have a suite of a la carte services for marketing, if anybody needs them. So, you know, say you want to put out a single or album and you need some merch, we actually have a merch dashboard within our company and our system, where it's an integration with Shopify, so you can create merch specific to a particular release. We also have advertising that you can book through the system. So that's something that within our dashboard, you can book outdoor advertising, digital advertising, providing tools, providing the right analytics to see, you know, what's working, what's not, are all things that we focus on in our company that can, you know, set us apart from the rest, and also make sure that as an artist, you're successful with every release you put out.
And how, like, what's the reception been in the industry around your guys' organization, your guys' company? Because it seems like it's such a significant shift from the norm of what's kind of been the record label process.
Definitely. So far, it's been great, and you know, I definitely think in the next year or two, we're poised for some real growth. And you're going to hear our name along with some of the other distributors out there that are doing very well, such as an Empire or United Masters, or you know, a Virgin or the Orchard. So all of us are in the independent space, and you know, it's a big enough pie for all of us to be a big part of it and succeed. So when it comes to Intercept Music, like I said, we really strive on trying to enhance our service offering, provide services that maybe some people aren't, as well as customer service, and having a team of established music executives that are there to provide the right expertise that you need to grow your business.
It's nice.
I want to ask about the AI aspect because with the current news, people are kind of getting kind of touchy with AI whenever they hear AI. So, but there's so many different levels to AI. So, I wanted to get a quick explanation of what type of tools with AI. I don't want to give away any any of your secrets or nothing, but what
Yeah.
could you tell me about the AI procedures that you or tools you use?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we actually do have AI as part of our dashboard, but in a marketing sense, as a marketing tool. So say you're an artist, you don't have a publicist, but you need a bio or you need an updated press release. All that can be generated within our dashboard. Just with you guys using the keywords when it comes to, single or release date, artist, all that stuff, just typing in some of the keywords that are needed to kind of generate that press release or bio. And then in beta, we have the ability to develop a marketing plan specific for release using AI. So marketing wise, as a tool, we definitely use AI and support it. When it comes to content creation, that's something we don't support. We definitely want our artists and label clients to have human made music. It's definitely got to be something that is created by an actual person. So we won't be distributing any content that's completely AI created. But as a marketing tool, we're definitely in full belief of that, and we've seen it work and give us positive results. So it's definitely a positive so far.
Nice, nice.
And I got a question for like distribution. Like I have like a very basic understanding of it, and some of our viewers might not have anything. I think like
Mhm.
what a distributor did was probably easier to like for the average person to understand back in the physical copy days, but where things are
Mhm.
now more digital. What role does a distributor play?
Yeah, that's a great question because the reality is distribution has changed so much over the last couple decades since the digital age started. And when I first started, yeah, it was definitely physical heavy. You had record stores, you had big box retailers like the Best Buys and the Targets of the world, and then you had independent record stores, and that's where you sold your music. And we obviously manufactured all the product and delivered directly to these retail outlets. And nowadays, it's really about delivering content from A to B, from our system directly to the digital service provider or a music platform like a Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon Music, and so on and so forth. So it's definitely different. It's definitely faster. It's not as costly, obviously, because you don't have the hard goods that need to be manufactured. Physical is still a part of the business. It's obviously not what it used to be, and it's just the different world because now you can literally create music, without leaving your home if you just have a laptop, and you can have it, delivered by a distributor that you have it can either be a DIY deal with a distributor like a TuneCore or a DistroKid, or a full-on service, distribution deal with a major like an Orchard, or even some nowadays major labels are now doing license deals, which are essentially distribution deals with their big artists. So it's totally flipped. Obviously the finances favor the artist or the label when it comes to an independent distribution deal because you now own are getting the lion's share of the profits and the royalties. Whereas with the traditional old school record deal, you're getting a percentage of royalty, which could be as low as 5% up to like a 20% range. So it's totally flipped with an independent distribution deal. You guys own 100% creative control as well as 100% ownership of the rights to the music you create. So I definitely think it's a win-win if you're an independent label artist going with an indie distributor like Intercept Music, because the opportunities are endless and you can obviously make a career out of it.
Yeah, and I think that's a big point that I want you to touch on a little bit about that ownership piece, because I think that was like a key setup in your guys' business model, is making sure the artists had ownership of their stuff, right, and that they were getting a large percentage of the recoupment. So, what does that mean for your company to be able to do that in this landscape where so many artists aren't getting like really any payouts off their music?
Yeah, I think it means a lot. They definitely appreciate it and realize that that's the way that the independent music business is going to be going forward. And that's when you see a lot of major artists that are previously signed to major labels going independent. Because they want to have ownership of their rights. Finally, they do have that fan base that they have a direct connection with via social media. where that wasn't the case, years ago, before mobile phones and social media and all that stuff. So it's definitely a plus. It's definitely something that, is intriguing. Now, the other side of it is that, you really need to work hard because you're not having a major label, that machine behind you doing everything for you. If you're at a major label back in the day, you just hand over your masters and they take care of the rest. When you're independent, you got to be involved. You got to have that team behind you. If you're not actually the one involved, you know, taking the sales meetings, being on the marketing meetings, making sure all the deliverables are in on time and everything looks good and ready to go, making sure that the label copy is all set and the metadata is, fine tuned and everything's there, because, that's how you make your money. You want to make sure all the paperwork's right, all the metadata is correct, so that when it does come to time to get that stream, or that download or whatever, the D2C sale from a physical bundle that you created online, you're getting paid off of that, and your hard work is definitely going to be appreciated, and you're going to make money off of that.
No, sure. And now I'm going to ask a personal question, just because I don't think anyone gets into this kind of a business or this kind of a landscape without having a love and appreciation for music. So what was it that for you that made you feel like, I want to be, this is the career I want to be in, this is the lane I want to be in? Like, what was that for you?
Yeah, I just the feeling I got, man. I was always that guy that, was lived in a record store. I used to be the guy with the headphones on, listening at the listening station, listen to all the latest releases, going through the bins. Like, I just knew that that was something that, um, something I always loved and appreciated. And then when I got the opportunity, I took it and ran with it. I mean, I just, like I said, I rose up the proverbial ladder as far as, showing that I had the initiative and the drive to strive for something higher. Um, when it came to new opportunities and new jobs that opened up, I made sure that I put my name in the hat. And, I basically, I made it a point to where they couldn't deny me. Like, I was the one that had to be there. I was the one that you needed to choose to be in this position to succeed and exceed expectations, per se. So it was just always something that was in me. I can't see myself doing anything else. And I think that's the reason why I'm still in the business close to 30 years later.
No, and if there was someone who was kind of coming up, wanting to get into the music industry, wanting to get into the entertainment business, or even on the back end of things, kind of like, what's that a piece of advice that you give them about kind of pushing forward?
You got to show that you have that drive and initiative, that that's is where you want to be. You got to be online looking for an internship if you're in school, or maybe looking for some type of part-time college. There's still college reps out there for some of these companies, so that's also an opportunity to take advantage of. And if you're not in one of these big cities, it might make sense to go to like a conference or a convention that's coming up. Or if you're an artist, and I don't know how it is in Canada, but I know in the US there's performing rights organizations. So ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, they're constantly throwing events all the time. Even if you're not a member, you can, attend these events and just kind of learn and network and be out there, because you never know who you're going to meet. And that's the main thing with this business that I would say is, a lot of the opportunities I've come across, I wasn't expecting. Like, I wasn't out there looking for it. It just kind of happened because I was at the right place at the right time. Or, there's an event that I went to that was thinking about maybe not going to. I ended up going, and I met so and so, and because of that, I got turned on to this other opportunity. Like, it's just so many stories from people that are in the business now where that's happened, and you just got to be out there. Regardless of what kind of personality you have. That was a key thing for me, because I was more of an introvert, but knowing that I wanted to be in this business, I had to flip that switch. When I go out to events and concerts and conferences, you got to be out there and just kind of network and let it be known that you want to be in this business, and you want to be there for a long time. So you got to figure out a way to really make yourself known and be that guy, that they want, that they can't resist, that's undeniable, that you got to bring on board as part of your team.
Nice, nice. And that's an extremely good advice, because it's kind of talking about that strength and that hustle and that perseverance to keep kind of going and showing that you have a place, and you have a place and you belong in this place, right?
That's right.
My next question for you is just about, like, maybe some of your funnest interactions throughout your career in the music industry? Because you've had a lot of experience, you worked with a lot of big names, and had a lot of big positions and helped people kind of propel their music to a higher level. So, what are some of those like your favorite moments to you within working in the industry over the years?
Definitely stories from some of the more established artists and pioneers that I've been able to work with, and I'm blessed to be a part of their release history, like a DJ Premier. Like that guy has stories for days. He's obviously a legend in this industry, and you know, every time I'm around him, whether it's taking on spending the day with him on a promo run or something, you know, just hearing the stories of different artists he's worked with, and all the little behind the scenes type of things, that was always appreciated. Learning the business savvy of artists like an Ice Cube, you know, somebody that's a true professional, that's not only just in music, but it also does movies and many other things. You know, being around him at an early age when I was a young executive was definitely fruitful, because I learned, you know, that, you know, you can't really, you know, take anything for granted. You got to hustle and you got to be on top of your game at all times. You know, things like that. Always being on time. Like ever since I worked with him, I'm never late unless there's like something serious going on. Because you know, there's no point in being late when you can be on time, if not early. You know, can't waste people's time. It's just being professional, and he learned that obviously from being on the movie side of things, where the show's going to go on whether or not you're there. You know, that type of thing. So learning from the established artists and just being around true talent. That's the main thing. That's why we do this, is being around people that are truly talented. Someone like a Tyrese, who, where, you know, if you're in the studio with this guy, he'll like kill one verse in one take and it's just flawless. Just having that true raw talent to sing or to rap or just to perform is always something that I'm never going to get tired of.
Nice, nice. And what's that music or that artist for you that kind of touches your soul? Like, who's your favorite artist when you're thinking about everybody in the music industry? Like, what's your something you gravitate towards? Maybe even like maybe when you were younger, and then like what's something you're gravitating towards now?
Yeah. I grew up on all the legends, man. Big time R&B and hip hop fan. So as far as like songwriting is concerned, I would definitely say someone like Babyface
Okay.
on the R&B side is a legend in my book.
Absolutely.
Other R&B artists that I really enjoyed, and this was my generation, was like Jodeci, the whole town Uptown Records era with Mary J. and all the great artists they had. Hip hop wise, it's endless. It's everybody from, you know, Ice Cube, NWA, to Rakim, to Jay Z, to Nas, to people that I grew up when I grew up in Florida, so a lot of people down south. So that's, you know, UGK, 8 MJG, Outkast. And nowadays I'm really liking some of the stuff that Mass Appeal's doing. Like I love this new Mobb Deep album.
Mm.
You know, that definitely gave me 90s vibes when I was listening to that record, because I just think they did a great job with you know, with Prodigy, and respecting his legacy now that he's passed. And I think that I'm a little biased to that particular project because I put out the Gangstar project in 2019, which had
Okay.
a very similar situation with Guru, who had passed, but Premier still had, you know, unreleased verses from him, and they put together a great album back in 2019. And unfortunately, it came out right before the pandemic. But you know, the first single had J. Cole on it, and it was just a really good project. But outside of real quick, outside of the Mobb Deep, you know, definitely, you know, Freddie Gibbs, like his last album, The Clips, the last album, and then on the R&B side, I guess an underrated release that I kind of been digging lately is the Jagged Edge project that came out earlier this year.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I don't even know if I heard about the Jagged Edge project that came
Yeah.
out this year. You got me thinking I gotta go check that out.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
know
they
it
got
came out either.
you got a few bangers on there. Yeah.
Okay.
I seen that Method Man was in a little promo on your on the site, repping with the hat, and I read somewhere he's a consultant.
Yeah, so this was actually before I joined the company. I've been with the company about 6 months, and but yeah, Meth came on board and was definitely supportive of Intercept, you know, early on for sure. And now that we're, I think it's a year or two later after that actually happened, you know, based on his support, you know, we're in a great place, and really going to be something to be formidable, and you know, going forward as far as one of these major distributors out there for independent artists and labels. We got to thank Meth for a lot for his support over the last couple of years.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a huge Wu Tang fan. So
Me too.
yeah, when I seen him there, I was like, oh, that's dope. I was wondering how he got on. That's cool to hear.
No, no, definitely is. Yeah. So, like, when you're thinking about artists that are coming up today, whether they're in Halifax, Nova Scotia, whether they're in LA, um, what do you see as the main benefits for them to kind of sign up for your guys' services? And like, what's the consistency of the artistry that you would like to see?
Yeah, so when we're looking at new opportunities, we definitely want to have an artist that ideally would have a catalog of releases already. Someone that's just starting out that hasn't put out anything. That's a challenge. But when it comes to um, having us be able to provide services that you actually can benefit off of. I think it's best to have at least a few releases under the belt, and to have some type of commercial following at a Spotify or YouTube when it comes to followers or subscribers. Making sure that you have people that are actually out there, wanting to, see new music from you and consume it. So, having those factors involved, I think we can definitely be there to help take things to the next level because of the services we provide, the tools we provide within the company. Also, obviously the relationships with the DSP partners out there. So, having all those things combined, can definitely help you, do what you want to do with your career.
No, for sure. And do you guys look at like just all different aspects of it, or is it just like an artistry for the artist? But do you guys look at like people who might be videographers or other people who are working in other aspects other than music itself, or like how does that work? Because I know you guys are like help artists develop on all aspects, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely part of the roadmap down the line. As of right now, we're really focused on music distribution. So any artist out there that has audio tracks or audiovisual tracks, that need distribution, that's kind of our core business as of right now.
Yeah. So you guys would distribute videos though as well, or like how would that process work?
So the short form videos, like music videos,
Yeah.
not it's not any long form stuff like documentaries, but definitely the music videos for sure.
Yeah. And would that be like how does that process exactly work out? Because I know there's like not as many like much music where they're playing a lot of videos constantly and that kind of stuff, like for getting the spins in the video. So how does that necessarily translate to modern day promotion of those of that pieces of content?
Yeah, so we mainly focus on the commercial retail partners for videos. So that's like the Vivos of the world, and I think Apple Music still sells videos and a couple other platforms. The promotional avenues that you're talking about, those outlets, we would usually hire like a third party, like a preferred vendor, to pitch our label's content to those different outlets. For maybe like you said, Much Music or VH1 Soul or MTV Jams type of channel. It'd be more promotional, like marketing.
Yeah. And if an artist like had any interest in aspiring into getting into like film or TV or things like that, or had their music going into film or TV, those would you guys help an artist do accomplish that as well, like with the music
We wouldn't,
distribution into
but
films?
yeah, there will be as far as like sync and licensing opportunities. Yes, so we do offer our artist and label partners a non-exclusive sync rights. So whatever we kill, but yeah, that includes stuff like commercials and movies. Anywhere where a company can license a track, we would definitely be a part of that as well.
Nice. And does that service also kind of translate into producers as well, or just more focused on the actual art, like the artist?
Yeah, so we would only be able to actually license the content that we distribute. So anything that's in our system as a release will be available for sync or licensing placements.
Cool. Man, very informative.
Yes.
I got a lot to think about and a lot to tell my previous guests and future guests that come on the show because we do have a lot of people that they do have catalogs out there. There's one guy like Breezy that I know.
Mm.
He just put a new song this week.
Yeah, he got a huge catalog of music. So
Yeah, and they got a nice following, but I don't know if he knows about stuff like this. So yeah, cool.
That's why I love doing opportunities like this podcast just to get the word out, because you're right. Like, a lot of people don't know about Intercept or even the concept of these type of deals that are out there for, your listeners, so I appreciate the opportunity. Like I said earlier, it's definitely something I've been looking forward to.
Yeah, exactly. Like you hit it on a nail there with not even just know about the companies, but know about the concept of the companies. Know that this is how things work now with the new digital age. Because yeah, when I heard distribution, my mind was like, got really interested because I was like, I have no clue how that how distribute how it even works anymore. But you've opened my eyes, man.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
Yeah, because it's like you said, it's a different game than what it used to be about kind of going with physical copies to places and that kind of stuff. It's a whole different ball game per se, and not everybody knows how to navigate those systems, right? So it's good that you guys have a service that's set up to kind of work with artists and work with developers to kind of be able to get their content out there and make it like a more of a seamless process for them, rather than kind of just relying it that the label's going to do it all. Like, yes, they're going to have to put in the work, but they're going to learn and they're going to have support along the way. That's what it seems like to me, what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Exactly. You got it.
Cool.
All right. So is there any final words or anything you want to tell the audience or about your service? About if you had 30 seconds to pitch, what kind of stuff would you say about the service that you guys offer?
Yeah, I mean, if you're an independent artist label out there and you need a distribution partner, please hit us up. You can reach out to us via our website, which is interceptmusic.com. You can hit us up on Instagram. Our handle is at interceptmusicofficial, or you can send me an email directly. I'm at jesse.flores@interceptmusic.com. We'll definitely love to catch up with you.
Awesome. There you go, guys. You got all the information, so you got no excuse to reach out.
Yeah, and from somebody who's been in the industry for a numerous amount of years, working his way up, working in all the different facets, who's going to give you a better understanding that a lot of other people might. So that's really good to understand that you have that resource here.
Yeah, 30 minutes to talk with him. I learned more stuff that I did in the last 20 years.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, it was good to have you on the show, Jesse. Glad you could come by, and you'll probably be hearing from some Halifax people. If you hear from someone from Halifax, you'll know how they heard from you and how they got your information.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for this episode of episode of the podcast. I'm John Kizzy. You know who is he, aka Philly G, because they know who I be. And I'm here with Ray Ray.
Take care of yourself, people.
And our extra special guest, Jesse Flores.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Yeah, and we're out. See you. Have a good night.